All right. Okay, so question of the evening. What do you love to hate? And how did this develop?
What is this easy? Magic.
Magic? Okay.
Yeah. He blames Boo and makes.
As you
Fair, fair, okay.
And maybe a mind flayer.
Also fair. Recently induced drama. How about you, Jinku? What gets your hackles up?
Well, not much, really. Okay, honestly, probably mixed at times because he does things that irritate me, but he's also, part of this group that, took me in. He does dumb shit like trying to take ivory doors.
Okay. And
No
this
offense, Mick.
and this developed just, through existing.
Yeah.
Alright. How about you, Mix?
Hmm. The only thing that really bothers Mix is when he feels like he's been disrespected. Other than that, he's cool.
Okay. Is there any particular reason that disrespect gets under your skin?
Oh my god, look who raised him.
Fair. Fair. Alright. And how about you, Boo?
I don't like rodents. All
Rodents.
rodents.
Okay.
Um, yeah. I really, really hate rodents. Even if they're, and in particular, if they're familiars, because rodents are disgusting, so only a disgusting person would pick a rodent for the familiar.
Alright. That takes care of that. Who wants to give us a little rundown of what you got up to last time?
Oh man, if you could start, like, where did we start? I'm
Um,
trying to think.
well, you
There's
started.
some grave robbing.
Yes. So the last session you started, you just finished your little underwater excavations, adventuring, and you uh, had some leads to go. Um, or, well, you got some leads from Raynar stopping by for a drink um, about this kind of weird dream whispering shit that you've been having, Boo. A saying that you got, um, that you were kind of had some questions about. And so you did, with some direction from Raynar, you guys went down to the City of the Dead, the big kind of graveyard section of Waterdeep, to check out the family tombs and see what sort of stuff you could find out down there. And while you were there, I mean, you guys went there kind of in the dead of night. Had to do a little bit of guard avoidance. Found out that the Neverember kind of tomb complex is guarded by a treant, who you managed to get to let you pass due to the permission from Raynar. You had to be there. And you found that his mother's grave had been recently kind of disturbed, and it seems that there were some things that were taken from her tomb.
I remember that. That was fun. I remember getting in there and not dying. There was shenanigans there.
Yeah, I mean,
I
And
was
then we got
not
back out,
dying.
right?
and you, yeah, and you guys did get back out just fine. Like you, I think it was, I think it was Mix who changed his face to look like Raynar or something like that, if I remember right.
No, it was,
That's right. That's right. Okay.
it's, I did.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, because there was like a guard you guys ran into and managed to kind of convince like, oh, like we were here tending to the family tomb and got locked in after hours. You know, let us out, please, and you know, managed to kind of let back out just fine. But the thing you were looking for in there is, let me just get the. Uh, so you know, just to remind you. The little dream that Boo had or was that he got this saying in his head of bronze scale of dragon, Alethea's tear, visage of that which you hold most dear. If a large debt you need to repay, bring these three to the vault to open the way. And at least from some conversations you had with Raynar, Alethea's tear was evidently something that, like a gift that had been given to his mother by his dad. It was like a brooch of some kind, and you know, it was supposedly buried with her, but that seems to have been stolen from there.
Okay. Oh, shit.
Oh, and you did also find out from kind of mini interrogating the treant, because the treant mentioned that there had been other visitors lately that had disturbed the tombs, of why he was, you know, trying to prevent you all from entry. And you did get some information that the ones who had recently busted in had kind of a yellow insignia, a circle with spokes coming out of it. Kind of looked like a sun a bit. Some of them had like markings with that, like on various pieces of their garb.
And had we determined who that belonged to?
Yeah, if I remember right, I think you or one of you did some kind of history check to recall this, but yeah, you have seen that before. That's a symbol associated with Xanathar Guild. You guys had seen that a long time ago when you were going through the sewers rescuing Raynar. Those were used to kind of mark the way through there. I think there's been a couple other places where you've kind of seen that around in Xanathar interactions, but yeah, you guys do know what that is associated with.
Okay. And we had done some things for them, right? And had talked to them about a little while ago, hadn't we? About doing some work for them or gaining their attention somehow.
Yeah, I mean, you've had a few different interactions with the Xanathars. Some of them decent enough. Some of them more on the violent side of things. Um, just to name a few, I mean, one you very recently killed what, as far as you know, a pretty high up ranking commander in the Xanatharian guild structure. This mind flayer that you guys took out was kind of important to some of their plans that Mert had told you. There was that fight ring that was associated with the Xanathar Guild. That was being run by people who were associated with them from a while back. The whole kidnapping thing with Raynar at the beginning had Zentrum and Xanathar people involved. There were some Xanathar people at the fuck, what was the name of it? I can't think of the name off the top of my head right now. It is the Gralhund Villa. They were one of many different parties that were at the Gralhund Villa that night when you guys did that little raid and the
No,
events that took place there.
allegedly,
Allegedly.
allegedly. That is, I will stick to that one.
Well, I mean,
All right.
to be fair, it was pretty well proven you were there. You just got let off on the technicality that the Gralhunds were demon worshippers, and public favor seemed to sway in your favor there. That killing demon worshippers was better than them being dead rich people. So, but yeah, so like you've kind of run into the Xanathars a few different ways. Oh, there's also Ott, who you have met before. He's one of the Xanathar dudes, a dwarf guy, has a knitted beholder hat that he wears. You guys rescued him from questioning by the Zentrum a long time ago, and you guys burnt down part of a neighborhood. And you've interacted with him later on too, when you had some.
I'm sorry, we didn't burn down the neighborhood. Former party member did.
True. But you have seen him since then. You had like some interactions with him. You guys had revisited like the old Zoblob shop, and also there was like a bakery place that had some connections to the Xanathars, and you had gotten some. I'll have to find what that was. There was some information that you guys got from him for something. Can't think of what that was right now. That was like 7 or 8 sessions ago, I think.
Okay.
But yeah, you've had quite a few different things with them.
Good times with them.
You've had interesting times with kind of all of the different factions in this mess.
Yeah, but only one is really terrible and fucked up, and that's the
Zens.
yeah, the Zents. Those guys all killed too, man. That'll be fun.
But yeah, so yeah, where we left off, I mean, you guys got out of the graveyard. It's the middle of the night. You guys headed back to your place to rest, and you find yourself, the next morning, things are pretty normal around in Waterdeep. A nice kind of late spring day in the area. A little bit of fog in the air. And you have a few different things to kind of look into. You've got, obviously this latest Xanathar bit of information. You have quite a few different people that you've met along the way that you might be able to talk to. There's the lady with her submersible that is open to you to go dive for things whenever you want to in the ocean if you have anything you're looking for. You've got, let's see here, and you're kind of working for the Castle Anters a little bit to try to keep making sure that their family is safe. They gave you one of the eyes in exchange for some information, because they got stuck in a deal with devils a while back and they want to get out of it and not have their kids die. So yeah, I don't know if you guys have anything in particular that you're leaning towards or any people you're wanting to go see.
Oh, wouldn't the first thing we need to do is track down this brooch?
That's your kind of latest lead right now, because there's these 3 things in this seeming passphrase to get into the vault. The brooch is one of them. This Alethea's tear, which was evidently stolen and is presumably with the Xanathars somewhere. There's also this bronze dragon scale, and whatever the visage of that which you hold most dear means. Which, from your conversation with Raynar at the table the other day, he assumed it was probably a picture of his dad, because his dad is kind of a conceited ass. And so, of course, visage of that which he held most dear would probably be himself. So Raynar is actually trying to find a, some sort of, portrait or something of his father that he could, bring to help with that thing.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, just to give like a quick kind of map of sorts of where you're at right now, is because there's a vault. This vault's got a whole fuckload of cash in it. You've got a few different groups of people that seem to be vying for this cash for various reasons. The Xanathars, the Zentrim, whoever these drow are that you guys keep running into, Castlanters, yourselves. And it seems that the location of the vault is a bit of a mystery. And this artifact, this Galore's Eye of Galore, or Stone of Galore, is some sort of key to revealing where the vault is. But it seems you need all 3 eyes back in the artifact to do so. You only have one so far, the one the Castlanters gave you. And then there's also this passphrase to even open the door of the vault, which is these other 3 items. And that's kind of where you guys stand right now, is there's this passphrase half of things, and these eyes half of things. The other 2 eyes, as far as you know, just from kind of general intelligence of what's going on, it seems like one of them the Zentrim have, because it seems like, this was a long, long time ago, but when Raynar got kidnapped, there was something inside of a locket of his that was like small and eyeball shaped that got taken. And so Zentrim supposedly have one, and Xanathar supposedly have the other one, because they were trying to go after that gnome friend of Raynar's that got toasted a long time ago. So you have a few different pieces kind of scattered around the city that you can decide to look into, and it's kind of up to you guys right now whether you want to try to look into more of the eyes, try to look into more of these passphrase items. Kind of got a few different branching paths at the moment. All necessary at some point, but the order you do those in is kind of up to you guys.
Mix, what do you think? What lead do you think we should chase?
Well, how many more things does your weird eye thing need?
2 more. We know that the Zentrim have one of them, and we know that the Xanathars have another. So one we're kind of on, mediocre to bad terms with, and the Zentrum, there's that's a thing.
So basically, we'd have to kill all the Zentrum, and we think the Xanathars also have this brooch.
Yeah, it seems that way from what you've found found out from your grave exhibition the other day. So the Xanathars have 2 things that may be useful at the moment.
So basically, we have to kill a lot of people, and we have to kill a lot of people. Which group do you want to kill first?
Well, and the method of that, of course, is, I mean, there is the violent route, but do keep in mind that you are in Waterdeep, and a lot of excessive violence may not end very well for you. You've already been to court once.
Yeah, I mean, we can talk to. We can go to the Xanathars and try and like talk to them. We're not on terrible terms with them.
Yeah. And it is a heist after all, and you're more than welcome to try to heist them as well.
Well, I guess I can make some of my shrinking potions, and you guys can just kind of drop me off in their hideout, and I can start sneaking around.
See, I find it kind of difficult to play a 20 intelligence character because I'm like 11 at best.
Depending on how deep into a bowl.
Yeah, and we're very deep today. I had the day off.
So,
Well,
Xanathars?
yeah, I guess we could kind of start poking our noses around the Xanathars. Jinku, towards what do you think?
There's not really any good answer, and neither one's going to be easy to get. But we should definitely start with the ones we're on semi good terms with. Probably get a little further with them.
I'm just here to kick ass, man. You just point in the direction and I'll take care of it.
Yes, Torta will kick ass.
And I'm all out of bubblegum.
I'm all
Is there any diplomatic way that we can do this, do you think?
We knew of like a shop or something of some kind. I think if I recall that we were able to kind of set up a meeting once. Should we go like tell them we want we know they have the item and we want to invest do that, or what do you guys think? How should we handle this?
Well, I know I don't want to go in and just start swinging. I'd rather not use violence to get all this if we can avoid it, at least somewhat.
So while you guys are all kind of sitting around discussing this, you kind of hear a kind of a light tapping at your front door, and then it kind of opens a crack, and you see the kind of friendly, kind of mutton chop face of Mert kind of peering through the crack. And he's like, "Hello, good morning. I hope I am not interrupting anything, am I?"
No, just having coffee.
Oh, good, good. And he kind of pulls the door open the rest of the way, and you see his kind of usual rotund self with his walking stick come in through the door. I think it's been a while since we've seen Pickamert, so we'll bring him back up here. Here's Mert. So he comes in and kind of sidles over to the kind of bar area and sits himself up on a stool and says, "Well, I hear that you managed to take care of the mind flayer problem I told you about. I hope it didn't give you too much trouble."
Just traumatized one of our teammates a little bit. Other than that, we did good.
Well, I am glad to see that you are all still alive, and I am happy to bring you a bit of payment for the service you've done for the city there, taking that out. They were beginning to cause a bit of trouble, infiltrating some of the various aspects of the government, and those falling under the influence of a mind flayer or a criminal guild such as the Xanathars would just not do very well at all. And you see him kind of reaching into his satchel here, and he pulls out a pretty kind of hefty looking little, or pretty hefty looking sack. It kind of jingles a little bit with coin, and he sets it down on the bar and pats it nicely. He says, "Well, the good tax-paying citizens of Waterdeep are glad to have your services here in the city. I hope this will make up a little bit for the trauma you may have experienced. And I'll be happy to let you know of any future opportunities that may arise. You guys have done fantastic work for us so far."
We love working for you. As long as you keep paying with knowledge or cash. You know how it works.
Well, that certainly won't be a problem. Oh, I did want to let you know, I was down at the Yawning Portal the other day and speaking to my good old friend Durnan, and he had mentioned to me that he may have some information that may be of interest to you down there. He seems that it's been a while since he's seen you down that way, but he recalled your bravery and heroism there in his bar some time ago, and hearing some of the deeds that you've done around the city and from me, he may have something for you.
Durnan, I remember him.
At your service.
He slew a troll right in front of us one time in that bar. It was crazy.
Well, at least the tale that I've heard is he seems to put the story more on you than on himself. But I've known Durnan for many, many a year, and I have no doubt in his abilities even after all this time. But I am certain he will hopefully have something good for you. He usually does.
Well, it's late enough. I could fancy a drink. How about you guys?
Always up for an ale.
Mert,
Let's
thank you for
go.
that information. We appreciate it.
Certainly. And he kind of tips his little hat that he's got there and stands up, tapping his cane that he has on the ground, and makes his way out, leaving the kind of large sack of cash on your bar. Kind of waving to you happily from over his shoulder as he heads out the door.
How much
So he wants-
cash is it?
So you head over and check out the sack of cash here. And from what you can tell, it looks like the cash or the sack contains about 400 or so gold pieces. So a nice little amount for you all. And I've stuck that in the party sheet there. I can just auto distribute it out to everybody there, if you like.
Sure.
Okay. Boop. Well, there you go. Got a little bit more cash.
A little bit.
The Torta can actually afford his torts instead of stealing them.
Right.
Torta, have you ever been to the Yawning Portal? It's a pretty great bar. Famous outside of Waterdeep. Anyway, let's all head down there and take a look.
All right. So you all head out of the Troll Skull here and make your way down to about the kind of the middle area of Waterdeep. Kind of southern part of town, but still kind of in the center. and head back to the yawning portal, where things kind of started off quite a while ago. You know, and it's still the morning when you get down there. It's probably about 10 a.m. or so. And you head in through the front door, and there's still a pretty decent crowd in here. I mean, the yawning portal is, you know, as you said, it's pretty well known. And, you know, even at early hours of the day, there's, you know, people passing through Waterdeep that come by to visit as a bit of a tourist stop. And you got your regular drunks that kind of happily come by. And, you know, it's maybe not quite as packed as it would be in the evening, but there's still quite a few people around some of the tables, a few groups of people kind of happily drinking and cajoling at some of the larger group tables around the edges. And you see Durden over behind the bar in his usual spot, serving up drinks, doing what he does best.
God damn, Durden. What a man. Torty, you gotta meet this guy. I'll grab, you know, I'll motion for Torty to come with me, and I'll see. Jinku, makes you guys grab a table. I'll get us some drinks and see what Durden needed. You know, I'll go over there and see what, and, you know, ask for drinks for us all.
Sure. So you know, the rest of you all kind of find a table to huddle around, and, you know, Boo, you head over to the bar. As you're kind of walking over that way, you see, or you can hear, like, one of the kind of groups of, like, one of the larger groups of people kind of start striking up a familiar tune that you recognize a while ago. You realize that, you know, some poor drunken sod is about to get lowered down the hole for another little bit of their drinking game, the dipping drinking game. That didn't go so well last time you guys were here. But at least as far as you know, you haven't heard of any other incidents in at least the last couple of months here with things coming up the hole after people. So hopefully that doesn't go down again this time. Happy memories, though. But you head over to the bar, and Durnan's sitting there, or standing there, kind of polishing a mug, and sees you come up. Says, "Ah, yes, my good friend, Boo something, was it? It's been some time, hasn't it?"
Yes, it's been several months. You can call me Boothfet.
Ah, yes, Boothfet, that's correct. I trust you and your companions are doing well?
I'll motion to him and I'll say, yes, we picked up a new friend here who hasn't been to the yawning portal, so we brought him down, and we figured, you know, we heard you were looking to speak to us, so we figured, why not kill two birds with one stone?
Well, I certainly hope you don't have to kill 3 birds with 1 stone and test your friend's strength like you did last time.
Well, I mean, you did most of the work. Last time we just kind of, you know, dealt with a little bit of crowd control. Well, I mean, let's be honest, mostly I dealt with the crowd control while you dealt with the troll. I don't know what the rest of them got up to. I think they were drinking. You know how they are.
Well, in any case, whatever went down that evening, I sincerely thank you. And I've heard things seem to be, business seems to be burgeoning for you up there in the northern part of town. It's nice to know that there is a more upscale drinking establishment up in those parts.
Well, I don't know if I'd call it upscale, but we do our best. It's a little more than a dive bar. We got a ghost for a bartender, so there is that. But you know, we're working on it. You should come down and check it out sometime.
Ghost for the bartender. Well, I guess I can only hope that happens to me as well once we get to that point, but who knows when that to be. The years grow long, and I've yet to see them dim. But yes, what can I get for you here today, my fine friends?
You got a drink of choice, Torta?
Okay.
Let's take 4 ales.
4 ales, certainly. And he kind of, like brings his hand up to his mouth and says, "On the house, of course." And, heads over, behind the bar, draws up a couple ales off cask, and hands them across to you, Boo. And as he hands them over to you, he also kind of like leans into the bar and says, "If you wouldn't mind moving over to one of the booth tables in the corner, I believe it may be better for us to speak there."
I'll nod and take the ales and give 2 to Torta, and I'll keep 2 and head over to Jinku and mix. I'll give Jinku the ale and I'll say, wrong table. Let's go sit in the corner here. It's drafty out here. Come on, get up, let's go. I know you guys are settled in, but...
All right.
All right. So here you are, the yawning portal. And, for those of you that haven't been here before, Torto, the yawning portal is a, bit of a famous location in Waterdeep. And kind of the tales of Waterdeep's past. Long ago, underneath the city, like the city is kind of built on a mountain of sorts on the shore. A big chunk of which kind of comes up out of the western part of the town. You've climbed on it some in the past. But under the mountain, there is a vast network of caves and dungeons and dangerous places that have been delved over the years, full of all sorts of nasty, nasty shit. And one of the few places to get down into that maze is this very bar by the titular yawning portal that you can see in the middle of the floor here. There's a crane of sorts above the hole, with which daring adventurers lower themselves down into the abyss for glory or otherwise. Many do not return, but it is still a bit of a spot for adventurers to gather, and others to gather just to see what happens. Torta, a long time ago, when the campaign started, they met here and had a bit of an incident with stuff coming up out of the hole. So you guys are all here in the corner and having your drinks up here. And Dernan eventually kind of comes over to you, and Dernan's a pretty big guy. He is, how big is he? I know I have it written down, info about him somewhere. Maybe I don't.
I'm Durgan.
But yeah, he's a pretty impressive looking dude. We'll say he's probably a good 6'7", and quite a bit of heft to him. You can kind of see under his skin. You can tell definitely has some tinges of age to it. But it's still pretty tautly strung over some impressive muscles that stick out from under his pretty kind of homely looking barkeeper's shirt and apron. He's dressed pretty plainly, but it seems to be having a bit of a difficult time keeping some of the heft in his biceps from busting out of his top here.
Yeah, he is.
We're not turning this into a slash fic. So Darren comes over and he kind of grabs a chair off of one of the nearby tables here and pulls it up to you all here at the table. So he leans in and kind of leans in on his elbows here. Says, "So, I hear you all have had some run-ins with some of the undercity types of Waterdeep. Is that right?"
Yep, we have.
That is what I had heard. Now, I can't really say that I'm in the loop as to what all is going on with them these days, aside from that they are a general nuisance. But there's someone here that may be of interest to you. Do you recall, when you were all here those months ago and dealt with our little escapee from the hole, as it were? There was a half-orc woman who was there with you all and had assisted with that. I don't know if you happen to recall her. Yagra was her name.
Yes, I recall her perfectly, but I'm sure these others don't recall her beyond just the name. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'll picture her here.
Oh, that looks very familiar. Well, it's been like a year, so I don't know.
Yeah, it has been. Like, we literally have not heard of her since the last time you were here. So, Yagra is a bit of a regular here. We see her quite a bit. And she does work for a faction of the Zentrum. You likely have heard of that group, is that correct?
Yeah. They done crossed us a little bit.
Okay. Have you heard... Well, I guess let's put this another way. How much do you know about the history of the Zentrum, as it were?
I'll look to the others because I'm not much of a history buff in that respect. You guys know anything? I sure don't.
Nope.
Enlighten us,
Nada.
Jordan.
Certainly. So, the Zentrum, they have many different groups in their kind of loose affiliated network of sorts across the whole of the Sword Coast. And much of their work is typically dealing with information and some other more illegal activities from time to time. Of course, they do some kind of underhanded trading and smuggling and that sort of thing too. But the group is not very well centrally organized, or hasn't been for some time. The Zentrum have a few different kind of splinter groups that still try to do the work that they do and kind of claim the Zentrum name and the reputation that it has built up over quite a long time. But the group that Yagra associates with, they are a group called the Doom Raiders. Have you heard that name at all?
No, I don't believe we have.
Okay. Well, the Doom Raiders, they are a small group of the Zentarim who they try to claim the um, rightful leadership of sorts of the Zentarim factions present in Waterdeep. For many many years, the Zentrum have mainly tried to work as sort of an underground intelligence network, and it had some illegal dealings, as I said, with smuggling and other things, but tried not to cause too much trouble outside from their illicit business dealings, as it were. But it seems that there is another player in these Zentarim groups that has been kind of come out of the shadows and tried to take control of Zentarim forces and intelligence here in Waterdeep in recent months. And I believe that a lot of the trouble that the Zentrum have been causing recently is, it sounds like you have had some interactions with them. They seem to be a bit more violent than they have been in the past. It seems that this particular group of the Zentrum are not affiliated with the Zentrum that Yagra and her cohorts try to be a part of. And recently, Yagra had reached out to me. It seems she had been keeping a bit of an eye on you all since you had assisted us quite some time ago. And she wanted to put you in contact with the Zentrum splinter group that she is a part of, as they may have some information or some work for you that may be of your interest. I know it sounds like you've had some not so great run-ins with the Zentrum in the past, but it seems like we have a few different interests at hand, and it's not all one cohesive unit, as it were. I mean, I've known Yagra for quite some time, and while she does have some rougher dealings that she does, as many of those who come through the Yawning Portal do, I don't really bother to question that all too much after all this time. But I've never really known her to be the murderous sort, and neither for her cohorts as well. But if you are interested, I can certainly let her know and arrange some sort of meeting for you all.
What do you guys think? Probably sooner and better than later, right?
Yes.
Yes, I suppose that would be something we would be amenable to.
Good. Good. Well, I will let Yagra know. I guess if you don't have any other pressing matters, I would not be too surprised if she showed up at some point here today. But you're of course also welcome to return later on. She's usually around in the evenings, and we can certainly converse with her more then if you wish. See what we can get put together for you all.
I've got nothing to do besides sit here and pretend to drink for the whole day. What about the rest of you? You guys
Portal.
want to just wait here? Sorry, didn't want to interrupt you.
Oh, I'm just interested in this portal here. We should go down while we wait.
Oh, I don't know about that, sir, friend. That seems quite dangerous.
I didn't know you to be yellow.
Oh boy. Oh man. I don't know about this.
think just for the sake of tradition, I might have to fire up the dipping song again, just because that was fun. It's been a while.
I mean, we have the backbone to handle it. We don't have to go down now.
Oh, who's going first?
Me, of course.
So while you all are kind of over here, discussing with Durnan and kind of conversing over interest in the large hole in the ground, you kind of those of you that have been here before, you see a familiar scene, a group of fairly inebriated patrons kind of gathering around the plank of sorts that extends out over the hole. And you see one of them kind of reaching over and pulling over. There's kind of a crude standing platform of sorts that you're able to kind of grab onto, stand on, hold on to, and then get lowered down into the hole. But it's a bit of a tradition around here for the drunks to do a bit of a kind of life and death drinking game where you have far too much alcohol and then go and stand on the platform and get lowered down into the dark and try to stay down there as long as possible before ringing a bell to be brought back up. Hopefully still alive. That's not always the case. But it's a bit of a kind of manliness challenge of sorts that happens around here. And last time we were here, there's a song that the drunken patrons like to sing when this goes on. And I'll sing it here for you guys, just because it's been way too long. So let me fire this up here. Dark and down below, where only fools and braggarts go, where monsters roam and dangers mortal, few survive the yawning portal. Stand your ground or ring the bell, and hope you make it up the well. Classics. So you see this group over by the portal kind of drunkenly belt this out, horribly out of tune. And you see kind of an older, kind of maybe middle-aged gentleman, looks to be about his like 50s or 60s, step onto the little platform here, and he kind of holds up a tankard, and these other drunks all cheer, and the one kind of manning the crank starts lowering him down into the darkness, and you see him kind of disappear over the lip and head down, continuing to kind of drunkenly sing to himself as he's kind of lowered down here. And the others all kind of gather up around the kind of low wall that circles this hole, kind of peering down into it, seeing how long he will last down there in the dark before he gets too frightened and rings the bell. And you all are watching there, and probably a good minute or two goes by before finally you hear a very distant kind of tinkling of a bell, and the man manning the crank starts cranking furiously in the other direction. And eventually, after a bit of time, takes a bit for this thing to wind back up, you see this kind of old man, or this man coming back up out. It seems that at some point down there he either got frightened or maybe frightened himself and spilled the contents of the mug he was holding all over his shirt. But otherwise, he at least seems unharmed. He is intact and isn't bleeding or dead. And he kind of stumbles off the platform once it gets risen back up. And, one of the other drunks pats him on the back and is like, 2 minutes 45, Joseph. 15 seconds longer than last time. We'll get you over 3 yet. And they all kind of wander back off to a nearby table, continuing to kind of sing to themselves. And Torto, you all are kind of watching this from the corner. Some of you having memories of how not so well it went last time you saw this happen, but grateful that it didn't lure something else up this time.
Can beat that guy. 3 minutes, no problem.
Oh, I don't know about that. What if a troll came along and ate your face?
I'm not the 10-armed frog of doom for no reason.
But trolls and faces. I'm the most intelligent creature in Waterdeep, and I know enough to stay out of a place like that.
Intelligence doesn't lead to bravery or a spine.
Do you have a spine?
Good-
Are you
yeah.
a vertebrate?
He'll turn around and show him, like, here's the spine.
Oh,
Yeah.
you do. I didn't realize you had a spine.
I'm gonna do it.